Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Brenden Thompson, linebacker at Duquesne University, and you're watching Sit Downs with JaMir.
Welcome to another episode of Sit Downs with JaMir. I'm your host, JaMir Wilson, and I'm here with Duquesne linebacker Brenden Thompson. Good, bro. So, former teammates in youth league at South Germantown. So we go back a little bit. Just wanted to introduce you guys to Brenden and let him speak about his story a little bit. So when did you fall in love with football?
I'd say when I was 7 years old, I was in Silver Spring back then. I watched Remember the Titans with my family, and I told my mom to sign me up to play youth league at Olney. Back then, that's where I was. So from that movie on, that's when it just started getting rolling.
Okay, so your first football team was the Olney Bears. Was there a coach that had a major influence on you?
Yeah, among a lot of others, when I grew up, the ones I can first remember is Coach Sal Gorgone and Coach Nix. They took the game really serious, even though we were like even younger than 10 years old, and that made me realize how important football was.
Okay. So I know you're from Ghana, your people are from Ghana, and soccer is a major sport over there. Did you have any parental pressure to play, or did you play at all?
I did. My dad coached me when I was 5. He was big on soccer, the Ghana Black Stars, but he adapted. He was an Elway fan back when he first came to America, and that helped me bring my crossover to football. And once I started playing, he totally moved over. He doesn't even watch soccer anymore. So.
Wow. Okay. So originally, you were at Georgetown Prep for your high school football career, and then you transferred to Northwest. So what was your decision making, and what made you want to do it?
Leaving Prep was hard for me because all my friends were there, and I felt like that was where I was going to graduate and be the next best Georgetown Prep running back.
Right.
Back then, I was a running back. So coming from Prep, it was either Northwest, Bullis, or QO. Actually, my first day of public school, I went to Quince Orchard, and I was going on my way to homeroom, and the counselors told me I was at the wrong school, which me and my family already knew. We were just trying to beat the system. So we go to get something to eat, and Northwest finds out that I'm no longer going to Prep. The coaches call my parents, and my dad gets on board, and it was history from there. No more. I visited Bullis after my sophomore season at Northwest, and I actually got a little financial deal to go there, but I just chose to stay, and I'm glad I did.
Great. Northwest High School, back-to-back championships. Could you tell us how that feels? You know, a lot of people, their senior year, their plans are to win the state championship. You were lucky enough to win your junior and senior year, so how does that feel?
It was definitely felt like something that I wouldn't accomplish coming up, even watching state games on TV. But once we did it, it's like something we could bond with forever, with old players, and we see each other. It's always going to be something we have that's special. When it happened, it felt unreal. I could always remember that moment, and I could hold on to it forever. So it was definitely one to remember.
Again, with the adjustment to Northwest, was there difficulties academically, or did you take that with stride?
Academically, Georgetown Prep is known for being like harder than a public school. I was averaging about 2.5 hours of homework a night. So when I came to Northwest, I thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and you'd be surprised at how hard some of the work got in honors and AP classes. So my first semester at Northwest, I think I only cracked about a 3.2, and that was terrible for me. Like, I thought it was going to be way easier, public school, whatever, and you had girls in school now. Prep was all boys, so my mind was on different things, and I had to refocus and understand that it's still school. So.
Your junior season, you won the state championship, your first state championship. When did you guys really feel like, as a team, we could make a run for the state championship?
It was a roller coaster of a season. We lost to a Gaithersburg team that was pretty good week 4. Then we lost to Clarksburg, who we believed we should have beat week 8. And the next week after that, we had the biggest game of our year so far. Quince Orchard, the best team in the state, we thought, well, I thought especially. We went out and beat them in a shocker. We shocked the whole county. So after that game is when I realized that we could do something that was bigger than just winning regionals. That was the goal of most people in the county. We could go on and win states. So that was the biggest turning point, was beating Quince Orchard.
Okay, and let's talk about the state championship games. The first one, was it a lot of nerves throughout the locker room? Personally, was it a lot of nerves for you? How did you feel?
I felt a little bit nervous, of course, but I was at ease because I had people playing with me like Josh Gill, Sam Romana, and I was a junior, and I realized that I might be able to come here again. And I was just playing free-spirited because I didn't believe that it was a goal of mine to come to states in the beginning that was tangible. So I was just playing to play ball, and it ended up working out in my favor.
Okay. So the second time when you were, this is your second time doing it, so of course you're more accustomed. Was it more pressure because it was your senior year? You felt like you had to win it, or were you still playing free spirited?
It was a lot of pressure. I believe I put too much pressure on myself to go out and kill and hit hard early in the season, and I feel like I was tired out from all the expectations. But I definitely knew we were capable of doing it.
So finishing up your senior season, you got to play in the legendary Big 33 game, Maryland against Pennsylvania. What was that experience? I know you go up there. So can you tell us a little bit about the insides and outs of it?
Well, you get selected. Some people, if you're like a big name, you get selected without going to the combine. I had the opportunity to go to the combine and perform for a spot, and I went to the combine, and they said I killed it. I think I did pretty well with moving and all that, and I looked good. So from then on, it was regional practices in Baltimore where everybody could get to. Then we went off to Pennsylvania for a week with the host family, and the Weldons were my host family, along with Martin Foray, who also went to Northwest, and Daniel Apu before me, who's my cousin, who went to Seneca Valley.
Shout out to Apu.
Yeah. But that was the week leading up to it, and we practice all week. The family takes care of us, and then the game is on Saturday. But in the grand scheme, the game is less as important as the week, meeting your special needs buddy, spending time with your host family and your real family. So that was the biggest thing for me in the Big 33.
Did the host family make y'all feel at home?
They did. It was like a second home to me. Even now, I went to school at Millersville, so I was close to them, being in Hershey, and I would go there for weekends, and I was just down there watching the Big 33 from this year. So I'm still close with them.
That's great. So you, like you said, you go to Millersville. What was that recruiting process? What made you originally want to go to Millersville?
Recruiting, I felt like I slipped in some people's radars, and I became a D2 prospect in December, which I'm kind of glad for because I knew where I was, and better late than never. And it was between Millersville and a couple other schools that were on the cusp of offering me or were going to wait till after signing day, like a Shepherd or Bowie State, things like that. And Millersville showed the most attention to me and my family, so I committed there before signing day in late January, and that's just where I decided that I wanted to go.
So you got some playing time your true freshman year. What was the transition from high school football to college?
I feel like I had a smoother transition than most, playing at a high level in Montgomery County and then playing in the Big 33. High school-wise and in college, I went up for camp and everything went well. I was balling, I was getting takeaways, tackles for loss, and things like that. So I got to start, and I attribute that to playing in Northwest and having an attitude that most don't have, that people from this area usually have. So that was my biggest edge amongst we had like 25 incoming freshmen. Only I believe 3 saw the field, 3 or so. So that was the biggest change.
So when you got to college, academically, was it another tough transition for you, or were you bracing yourself for it being more difficult?
I felt like being there in the summer helped me out. I reported to school July 12th, and I was just strictly on a football basis, but I got to understand the geography of the town and the school. So once I got there for camping for first day of school and moving in, I was more acclimated than other people. So academically, I was ready because I was 18 years old. I was ready for a college workload, and it wasn't that difficult. It was a public university, so it wasn't like I was doing anything crazy. Public schools are good college-wise, but it was Millersville, so no disrespect, but it wasn't too much for me to handle.
From Division II to a smaller D1 AA school, how are you preparing yourself for that?
I've just been working out, trying to get bigger than I had before. I'm working more on bulking because I've been up there for the spring game, and I saw that these dudes are big, so I'm trying to keep up. And it takes a lot more mental toughness knowing that I'm going to go from a scholarship player and being at the top of one school to being a walk-on at another school. But I feel like I'm up for it, and this is what I chose, so I have no choice but to be. This is going to test me.
Okay. So you've transferred before. This isn't your first time transferring. Like we said, you did it in high school. Do you feel more prepared because of that?
I do. I feel that that transition, which was a big one, not only with me, but with my family, just like this move is, geographically it's farther. The price is a little bit different than Millersville. It's not going to be a killer, but I'm a walk-on, so I'm not on a scholarship type thing. But I'm definitely more acclimated, and playing football is always going to help because I'm not only going as a student and I have something to meet people and
Right.
to associate myself with. So I'm happy that I can use football as a way.
You talked about your older sister Sophia going to NY for grad school. Do you feel she set a standard for you that you can look up to and want to achieve after?
I feel like we're good at different things. She's always academically edged me, but athletically she didn't play any sports, so I got her on that regard. And I'm now saying after these 4 years I'm done with school. It's over. No grad school. I'm gonna start what I'm doing and hopefully learn in the field. But I'm not gonna go to grad school or anything like that.
Choosing your own path.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you again for watching another episode of Sit Downs with JaMir. Thank you, Brenden.
It's a pleasure.
Shout out to Duquesne University. Look out for them, and look out for my man Brenden in the future. Shout out to Northwest.
Yeah,
Shout out to Northwest, I guess. Shout out to Northwest. Go Seneca.
I'm Brenden Thompson, linebacker at Duquesne University, and you're watching Sit Downs with JaMir.